Well, it looks like the ride is still going. Silver at 14.25, still riding that 5-day moving average. The only thing that I'm looking at is the volume is dropping down. Ever since this latest surge above the 200-day moving average, the volume is declining. It was at 27 million, then 22 million, then 17 million, and now 15 million today. When something's going up and the volume's coming down, usually signals a pullback is imminent. So I've raised my stop loss to 13.75 with a cost basis of $11, so I'm up 275 so far. I'm not going to mention how many ounces or how many shares of the SLV I bought because it really doesn't matter. All that matters is the dollar gain or loss, so that's all I'm going to really be mentioning now. So I have a cost basis of 11 and a stop loss at 13.75. And the reason I trade the ETF is because if these banks want to play their games and come in here and knock the price way down again, you can short this or buy puts on it now that there's options on SLV and GLD now, which I'm amazed at. That tells you when they start to list options in a market, it usually means there's going to be a lot of attention coming to that market, so that's good. I was reading about, actually seeing on TV about how they're trying to subsidize mortgages on people that played by the rules. And maybe they did play by the rules because they were sold a lie, just like a lot of us were, not me. But and now they want to come in and say, as long as you're not upside down in your mortgage, we'll give you $1,000 a year for 5 years. What? And then after 5 years, your rate goes back up, and everything you haven't paid so far gets added on to the end of your loan. I mean, is anybody realizing that our whole lives have been a big scam? Just a big failure built into the system kind of a thing as soon as we were separated from gold, which we had to be. This is the way I figure it. It was fine for the dollar to be backed by gold as long as there weren't too many people to loan to because there wasn't enough money to go around. Well, human beings tend to do things until something forces them to stop, and then they keep going until they're dead. That's the way I figure it. They don't stop. They keep beating their head against the wall. They keep going until they run into a wall, and then they keep beating against that wall until they can't anymore. That's what we're up against here. They took us off the gold standard, and they've been heading towards this problem. And it was pretty much inevitable because the population grows exponentially. The money supply has to grow exponentially, and you have to have defaults, and you have to have crashes, and you have to, because the intrinsic value of the dollar is zero. So if anybody ever told you the money in your wallet is worth something, it's not. It's just because today you found another sucker to give it to. You've taken your time, which is transferred into money, and you found someone else who's been lied to, and it's like a hot potato. You passed the worthless paper on to them and got something of real value, like food or something, or a car or something of value, and you escaped. And that's been going on for a long time now. So now the party's pretty much over, and the failure is built into the system. So I think it all starts with too many people. It's an exponential thing. I mean, all the way up until about the 50s, there weren't too many people. It was fine to back the dollar with gold because there weren't too many people. All in the history of mankind, there were not too many people. But then the law of exponentiality says that things have to grow. Pretty soon they're going to grow at an exponential rate going straight up. So the population started to explode after that, and explode and explode and explode. So that's why we see the money supply growing, and finally we have to be taken off the gold standard completely. So I think this failure has been built into since the beginning of time, because as long as humans were successful, or any species is successful, they're going to multiply to numbers that are unsustainable. It seems like a natural law. And if it's unsustainable, then that, whatever it is, the money supply or the population has to shrink. It has to. So now that the government's run into this brick wall, and the market's collapsing, and the housing is collapsing, and everything's collapsing except the metals, now they're starting to beat their heads against the wall with the stimulus, with the bailout, which is the same thing, with the mortgage subsidy now, and now they want some $40 billion for something else. I can't remember what it is. They're beating their heads against this wall. Every time they beat their heads against this wall, it adds more money to the money supply, until finally the dam's going to break and hyperinflation will be here. Period. It's coming. So if you don't own silver yet, buy a little bit now. Next month, buy a little bit more. If you can only buy a little bit, just think of that as that money is not going to lose value. It's going to actually gain buying power. Or the money you have to spend on your mortgage and your car, and of course you need food. the money that's going to be going anyplace else but these metals is going to be lost. It's going to be gone forever. But at least you'll be starting something now, because silver goes to $500. You'll be glad you started buying here. So I expect a pullback though. The 20-day moving average is at 13. I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled back to 13 before finding support and building strength. I think there's too much attention coming in now for this to really pull back in a big way. I think the banks are running out of ammo, because even them, they're not invincible. Especially J.P. Morgan, their stock keeps dropping, and you watch J.P. Morgan, JPM. They own 90% of the short on silver, and when they go down, they may be forced to cover that short to raise cash. So let's hope that happens. Well, hope. I don't like to use hope. I don't hope it happens. I'm watching for it to happen. If it doesn't happen, then we'll trade the SLV and we'll make money on the way down too. And the profit we take from short selling will go into buying more physical. So if the banks want to pull their nonsense, they're just going to be adding to my physical supplies, and you should do the same thing as far as I'm concerned. I guess that's going to be about it. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for all your responses, and I haven't really gotten anything negative yet, so that's cool. Most of you have been pretty nice. So that's it for today. It's Friday. I used to look forward to the weekends. Now the weekends suck because there's no opportunity to make any money on the weekends. So looking forward to Monday. We could have a big breakout, but I really expect a pullback since the volume is dropping, but you never know. It may find support at 1350, which is the 200-day moving average. It may pull back to 13. It'll be interesting to see, but I'll let you know what I'm doing, and you can follow along and see if you can trust my system or not. I think my time's up, and that should be about it. I thought there was something. Oh, if you don't already know about the Glenn Beck Show, Fox News Channel, you should be watching that, because that guy, I'm surprised they even let him on the air for what he talks about. He tells it like it. I mean, he's a straightforward guy. Fox News, it's on 2 o'clock on Pacific Standard Time. You might want to check your local listings, but I highly recommend the Glenn Beck Show. He's good. Anyway, that'll be it for today. If you haven't seen my video I made a little music video. Just something I threw together to see how it would work. You might look at my other videos available and watch it and let me know what you think of it. I just something I threw together. I'm going to try to do another one not too long and spend some real time on it. So that'll do it. Later.